Okay, I just have to give some scale on how big this plant actually is. This fiddly fig is a monstrous plant. This fiddly fig is most definitely getting a chop. Just for some perspective, I'm what, 5'4", and this guy is probably less than a foot when it's standing straight up from hitting the ceiling. So it's time to give it a haircut. The first time that I did this, I was absolutely terrified and I thought that it was never gonna grow back. Luckily it did, and it's been thriving, so I got something cool to show you there. But in order to make it so it can continue to grow, I have to give it a chop off the top. The cool thing about that is it makes extra plants. So I started out with one fiddly fig plant, and now I have cut it twice. So I have a total of 3 fiddly fig plants. I'll show you how I uppot one later in this video. And I want to show you the growth that's happened to this plant since I cut it, which makes me want to cut it again. Another reason why I want to cut it again is it is so crazy right now that it's having a hard time standing up. So I think if I get some of the weight off of it, that'll do it some good. The top parts are awfully weak. So I think if I give it a good haircut and then I start doing that, our fiddly fig is going to do so much better. Now, let me show you something cool. If you can see right here, this is where I cut it before. I did a straight cut off, and we grew 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 leaves on our fiddly fig from where I cut it. Now on the other end, yeah, you can't see that quite as well. Okay. If you can see right here is where I cut it. Since the cut, it branched out, grew again, and it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 new leaves. So the cut did some good. While it was turning the ones that we cut into a new plant, it also grew another new plant on it. So kind of exciting. And I'm gonna cut in the same spot again. Like I said, I thought it was gonna go down. To get some of the weight off this plant, with fiddly figs, come through, shake them. It's really gonna make the plant that much stronger, and it's gonna give you that thick, branchy, more tree-like that you want. You don't want these flimsy little ones. You want something with a little bit of strength. Another thing that you can do is have a fan on them. So an oscillating fan is gonna help do that by creating an environment that feels like wind for the fiddly fig. Now, this is one of my favorite plants. And it used to be, when I bought this, it was just wee tiny, and it was up on a stand to be able to get to the light, and now on the ground it just reaches on its own. So absolutely amazing. One of my favorite plants. Okay, the window over there with this just getting the haircut and the fiddly fig pulled out is giving me absolutely the ick. Look at how naked it looks. Don't worry, we're gonna put the fiddly fig back. But before we hop in and we give it a chop, I'm pretty lackadaisical, but when it comes to my favorite plants, not so much. So we're gonna do everything, well, not everything, but most things by the book. So I'm gonna start out by sanitizing my shears and making sure that I clean it. This is just to ensure if the last plant that I cut off, if there was any bacteria or anything like that on our shears, that we're not spreading that to our fiddly fig. And I love this fiddly fig. I love it so much. I used to have it in the south facing window, and I heard that if you move them too fast, they can get real dramatic and start dropping leaves. So I moved it like a couple of inches every day until I got it over to this window. Then it just took off, and it got so big that I had to do a chop on the top, which got me 2 other fiddly fig plants. So one of them I'm going to up pot later in this video. The other one I up potted a couple of months ago. So now it's getting too tall again, and I'm going to show you that. So we need to come in again and give it a good haircut, give it a propagation, which promotes growth. That's kind of the cool thing. So it's easier to show you while I do it. So let's hop over. Let's take a peek at the fiddly fig itself. I'm going to come in, well, let me think. Do I cut it where I cut it before, or do I cut it up one from where I cut it? I'm curious on each, but I'm just gonna cut it right where I cut it before. Because do we have a note here? node there. So I'm gonna cut it in the same spot where I cut it before. Set that off to the side. And then on this one, I'm gonna do it a wee little bit different. So this is where I cut it the last time. I'm gonna leave one leaf here. And I'm gonna cut it above that one. Okay. So here's our second cut. Okay, tell me that just doesn't look better now that the fiddly fig is back in that window. It just, oh, without it there, just I did not like it at all. So let's take a peek at our cuts. This is the first one, right? And if we peel these little, you can see how many nodes it has. Now, on this one, as much as I hate to do it, I think I gotta take this leaf off. So I'm gonna come in. Oh, I gotta snip it better than that. This one's just a goner. We could grow a root from it, but it'd never be more than just a fiddly fig leaf, unless there was a piece of the stem on it. So we have this one, where you can tell I have a couple of nodes that are gonna go into water. So we'll pop that in here. And then on this one, I have a couple of nodes down here. It's a big enough stem to go ahead and grow roots from. So we're just gonna leave this in a thing of water until it sprouts roots. Like I said, it takes a really long time. Last time it took me about 3 to 4 months before I got any roots. This is a plant that I am awfully proud of. I was so scared when I cut this for the first time for my fiddly fig. I was afraid that it wasn't going to work and I would have just chopped off like the top half of my plant. But look at the roots. Look at how amazing that actually took. So it is going to be a lovely plant, and I want to get this into a pot. So let's go ahead and let's get this potted up. So as always, we need a pot with, I'm just making a whole mess, with a drainage hole. So you don't want to have a pot that doesn't have a drainage hole. I just mixed up a wee little bit of potting soil. If you want to know how I make the soil, I actually have a video on how I make it. And then for my monstera, I kind of just wung it and made a new type of soil. I don't know how that's gonna go, so I figured we'd find out. That's a lot of stuff when I'm doing planting. A lot of it is just, this is what I think I should do. I try it out and see how it goes. I mean, if it doesn't work, then we tweak it for next time. If it does work, then we're like, all right, cool. So I'm gonna put about maybe an inch of soil in there. Now here is the thing, here's the thing I'm debating. Is it better to cut this bottom leaf off to get that extra stem space, or do I leave it on and see if it'll hold up without it? Which I hate to cut that leaf off. That's a huge leaf. Now, trying to find a spot where I can do this and still see the camera. Now, I've heard people say that you could take a fiddly fig leaf and grow a new plant from it, but I don't believe you can. You can probably grow roots from it, but without a node, I don't think the leaf would ever turn into an actual plant. So I'm just going to, I'm gonna leave it there. Worst case, I'll cut it off later and fix it, but I like that. Now, this took forever to get roots. Like, I swear I must have trimmed this off the plant maybe last summer, the beginning of winter. So it has been a while. So you're gonna have to be real patient when you do your fiddly fig. Fiddly figs run on their own on their own time schedule. Okay, I was worried it wasn't gonna have enough strength to hold itself up. What we want to do now that you have it planted, you never smash the soil in there like, oh, I gotta hold this up, let me smash it down. You'll damage roots, you'll cause more issues than anything else. If it wasn't gonna hold itself up, I would have just pulled it out, cut that leaf off, would have given me a little bit more stem to work with. It would have grew more roots. But because it's standing upright, I think we're fine. I'm gonna give this a really good watering for the first probably couple weeks after I put this into soil. I'm going to keep it more wet than I normally would. Now, the reason why I do that is, remember, this is used to being in just water. So we can't get the roots to the point where they're in soil and it's like, wait a minute. So for the first couple of weeks, I will keep this more wet than normal. And then after it acclimates to the roots being in soil, then I'll go ahead and start watering like I normally would. Again, I love the fiddly fig plant. It is one of my favorite plants and it has absolutely gone wild. I really hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoy propagating and replanting and making more fiddly figs. If you haven't done so already, be sure you hit the like and subscribe button down below.